Good afternoon. This is Jim Wallman with your Eastern Area Fire Weather Briefing on the afternoon of Tuesday, March 10th. Over the last 7 days, significant rainfall has fallen across much of the big rivers, with as much as 2 to 5 inches falling across southern Missouri into southern Indiana and southwest Ohio. Other areas to the north and east have gotten lighter rainfall. However, portions of northern Minnesota and the coastal mid-Atlantic have seen less rainfall. This is also quite a bit more precipitation than normally seen over the past week, with many areas receiving more than 400% of normal rainfall the past week in the heaviest rainfall areas. Current satellite imagery shows that a stationary front is draped from southern Iowa into upstate New York. A wave is expected to develop along the front as the system moves out of the Rockies tonight into tomorrow. This will strengthen along the front and push the front through much of the eastern area the next 2 days, with widespread wetting rain expected for most of the big rivers and eastern Great Lakes to the east coast. The latest watches, warnings, and advisories for the eastern area from the National Weather Service show that winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories are in effect for northern Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan for snowfall the next couple of days. Farther to the south and east, winter weather advisories, ice storm warnings, and winter storm warnings are in effect from central Wisconsin to the northern lower peninsula of Michigan, the St. Lawrence Valley, and much of northern Maine. Flood watches are in effect from northeast Illinois into southern Michigan and northwest Ohio due to rainfall expected tonight into tomorrow morning. And then in the Adirondacks and Vermont, rain and snowmelt with potential ice jam flooding is also possible. Farther to the south, in southern Illinois and southern Indiana, minor flooding continues from the earlier rainfall. Looking at the forecast for tomorrow, that strong storm is expected to move through much of the eastern area, dropping wetting rain, especially across the upper big rivers into the eastern Great Lakes and then into the northeast. Temperatures south of the front will be very warm, with temperatures as high as 80 degrees possible in the lower elevations of West Virginia. Breezy winds are also expected ahead of and behind the front, but overall RH will remain elevated and keep significant fire potential low. Moving on to Thursday, the system is expected to move off the East Coast with light precipitation in portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. However, much drier air will move in behind the front across much of the southern tier with minimum RH of 20 to 30% expected. Breezy winds of 10 to 20 miles an hour are also possible in portions of the big rivers and through West Virginia and Pennsylvania. However, due to the recent rainfall, significant fire potential will be kept very low and temperatures overall will cool closer to normal. Moving on to Friday, temperatures will begin to warm a little bit in the southern tier, and RH will remain very low at 20 to 30%. A strong storm is expected to develop in the Great Lakes and move to the northeast with areas of snowfall. However, just to the south of this storm in the warmer sector, winds are expected to increase with 20 to 25 miles an hour winds expected from Ohio into much of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Significant fire potential was increased to low in these areas and also across Missouri, where RH will remain very low. We're expecting a little bit of an increase in IA as a result of the drier conditions and areas of winds. Looking at the snowpack and precipitation overall in the current state and what's forecast for the next 7 days, the current snowpack continues to retreat and currently only exists in northern Minnesota into northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and the higher elevations of upstate New York and New England. And snow has begun to melt significantly over the last 24 hours in many of these areas due to the warm temperatures. Precipitation over the next week is mainly focused on the next couple of days. although portions of the Great Lakes could see some more with the next storm on Friday into Saturday, and as well as the Northeast. And some of this will fall as snow as colder temperatures move in. Now, looking ahead to the week 2 outlook with outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center, a strong wedge is expected to develop in the western U.S. early next week and then slowly spread eastward. This will bring much drier conditions to the big rivers and potentially to the mid Atlantic as we head later into the week 2 period. Temperatures will start off a bit cooler than normal for the eastern area, especially early next week, but then gradually warm, possibly rising to well above normal in the western parts of the eastern area as we head later in the week 2 period. To summarize the outlook for the next couple of weeks, wetting precipitation is likely through Thursday morning for most areas, except portions of the western Great Lakes and coastal mid-Atlantic, with more wetting precipitation to the Great Lakes Friday and Saturday and eastern areas early next week. Breezy periods and dry conditions Thursday through Saturday will create locally elevated significant fire potential, with mainly an increase in IA expected. Next week, it will turn drier for western areas, potentially extending all the way to the mid Atlantic. And temperatures will also cool to a near normal early next week before possibly rising back above normal for western areas as we head into later next week and next weekend. Thank you for listening.